Welcome back, everybody, to the Right Way Sports Network. I'm your host, Daniel Joseph Alameda, and today we are breaking down the Miami Dolphins offseason. So let's get right into it. Let's start off with the 2019 season, which can truly only be seen as a major success. If we turn back the clocks to the beginning of last year, here is what we'll see. We'll see a team expecting to be one of the worst teams to ever be assembled. We'll see a team that in week 1 got absolutely destroyed by the Ravens 52-10. We'll see a team in week 2 that got manhandled and shut out by the Patriots 49-0. We'll see a fan base screaming out, "Tank for Tua." But the reality is, they finished the season not even as a top 3 pick. Let's talk about their head coach, Brian Flores. Brian Flores last year was a rookie head coach, and he joined the team in February, so he already got a late start on the offseason. But he proved that he 100%, no doubt, belongs in the NFL head coaching ranks. He excelled in the X's and O's, handling the media and developing his players. This past year alone, he led Devonte Parker, Mike Gesicki, Preston Williams, Raekwon McMillan, and more to breakout seasons. Let's talk about the Dolphins offense as a whole. Last year, they were 25th in total points and 27th in total yards. But this upcoming year, that figures to change for the better. The Dolphins went out and they fired their offensive coordinator, Chad O'Shea. The reason they did this was many people were complaining that he tried to install a quote-unquote too complex offense. And I mean, this makes sense because he used to be the wide receivers coach of the New England Patriots. So as a result of this firing, Brian Flores signed offense coordinator Chan Gailey. Chan Gailey is bringing a veteran presence to this organization, as he's been with the Chiefs, he's been with the Bills, he's been with the Jets. He has a proven track record as an offensive coordinator in the NFL. Along with his proven track record, he is bringing along a multifaceted, balanced offense, and that was something they severely lacked last season. Let's talk about their quarterback situation, and I'm going to make this very simple for you guys. I wholeheartedly, 100% believe that Tua Tagovailoa is the Dolphins franchise quarterback. You can argue he was the most talented quarterback in his draft class, but just because of this fact does not mean he is ready to start this season. If I am the Miami Dolphins GM, if I'm Brian Flores, I am not starting Tua Tagovailoa at least the first 8 weeks and maybe even the whole season. Hear me out. Tua Tagovailoa, not only are we dealing with a shortened offseason because of the coronavirus, but we're dealing with a guy who has had major injury concerns. We're talking about major ankle injury and major hip injury. So if I'm the Dolphins, I'm going to start Ryan Fitzpatrick. Ryan Fitzpatrick has proven to be a capable starter, and that's all I need this year. If we're not going to compete for a Super Bowl this season, there is no reason to risk your franchise quarterback for his rookie season. Heading into the offseason, the running back position was a major need for the Dolphins. Last year, they rushed for only 1,100 yards, which was the worst mark in the NFL. But luckily enough for you Dolphins fans, they went out and they addressed this need. They got 2 running backs, Matt Breida via trade and Jordan Howard through free agency. And these guys are going to give you thunder and lightning. The lightning is Matt Breida's speed and quickness. The thunder is Jordan Howard's power in the short yardage game. So both of these guys are going to complement each other extremely well, and they're going to help this running game along with the new offense coordinator Chan Gailey's emphasis on the rushing attack. They're going to be much improved this season in the running game. The only issue I have with the running backs is I would have liked for them to draft a running back. And the only reason is, right now, the Dolphins state of the franchise, you're trying to build something. You're trying to build the foundation, and you can't really build off of Matt Breida and Jordan Howard. At some point, you have to build around a running back too. So that's why I would have liked for them to draft a running back. As for receivers, I'm a huge Preston Williams fan. He was an undrafted free agent, but he had a promising rookie year. He only averaged about 50 yards a game, but him being 6'4", a perfect X receiver on the boundary side, he made many acrobatic grabs, but his season was cut short because of a knee injury. Devonte Parker finally finally had his breakout year, and he finished it off in the best way possible. Week 17, going up against the New England Patriots, playing the best cornerback in the entire NFL, Stephon Gilmore, Devonte Parker had 8 catches and 137 yards. So this upcoming season, he's going to look to build off of that. They also have a trio of speedsters that can take the top off of defenses in Jakeem Grant, Albert Wilson, and Malcolm Perry. Mike Gesicki, their tight end, is a pure talent. Last year, he really showed just how much talent he possessed. He's able to play anywhere on the field, and he really excelled as a slot receiver. I know it'll take some time getting adjusted to new offense coordinator Chan Gailey, because Gailey never really puts an emphasis around his tight ends, but he's still going to be one of Ryan Fitzpatrick's favorite, most reliable targets. The Dolphins' offensive line is still a work in progress, and it will be for the next 2 to 3 years. But the reality is, when you see just how bad they were last year, anything is an upgrade from that. Last year, to put it lightly, they were discombobulated. They gave up 58 sacks, the most in the NFL, and they were discombobulated. But this offseason, they put a little effort into changing that, and they got 3 new starters. They got Austin Jackson, a rookie, Robert Hunt, a rookie, and Eric Flowers, a free agent. So this season, what you can expect is, you can expect them to play around with different lineups, expect them to mess around with different formations, and see how they work with one another. Now on to the Dolphins defense, and very similar to their offensive line, they were a mess in 2019. Last year, they had all around the worst defense in football. Most passing yards, most rushing yards, most points given up. All around, they were the worst defense in football. But luckily enough for you Dolphins fans, once again, your team went out and made major improvements. In free agency, they spent the most money out of any NFL team. In the draft, they had the most draft picks out of any NFL team. So in free agency, they added Byron Jones, Kyle Van Noy, Aladdin Roberts, Shaq Lawson, but they gave those guys big time money. In the draft, you added guys like Raekwon Davis and Noah Igbinoghene. So all 6 of those guys, however many I just named off, they're going to be major contributors day one. But when you realize it, if you have 6 new major contributors, that's going to take time to mesh, especially with this shortened offseason. So right now, where I'm at with this Dolphins defense, I think they have a lot of talent. Arguably, their biggest, the biggest reason I think they're going to be really underrated is because of their rotations. They have a plethora of young talent, especially in their front 7, and that'll help to keep their young players fresh. For some odd reason, I'm really excited about their front 7. Let's look at their defensive line. Davin Godchow, Christian Wilkins, and Raekwon Davis. All 3 of those guys were highly drafted, highly talented players, and as we said earlier in this video, Brian Flores knows exactly how to develop players. Now let's look at their linebacking core. They got a lot of depth there. Raekwon McMillan, Jerome Baker, both guys had breakout years last year. Kyle Van Noy, Aladdin Roberts, both guys have been great with the Patriots. Shaq Lawson, Cameron Grugier-Hill, both of those guys add great depth. So all around, as I said, this front 7 is young and they have a lot of depth to keep guys fresh, to keep guys in and out, and to make this a very dangerous front 7. As for their secondary, it is young and talented. They have arguably one of the best cornerback trios in the entire NFL. Byron Jones from the Cowboys, Xavier Howard, one of the most underrated cornerbacks in the league, and Noah Igbinoghene, who was their first round pick, highly athletic, and he will be their slot cornerback. And that's not even mentioning Nick Needham. Nick Needham was one of the highest graded rookie cornerbacks in 2019. So now looking at their safeties aren't anything to brag about, but they're a solid, productive group. Last year, they switched Eric Rowe from cornerback to safety, and he absolutely thrived. Bobby McCain, Steven Parker, and Brandon Jones, all 3 of those guys, I think they're talented guys. So while you may not have a top-end safety like a Jamal Adams or like a Minkah Fitzpatrick, you have a great, talented group there in the secondary. So to wrap this thing all up, this offseason was one of improvement for the Dolphins. They went out and they had a splurge in free agency. They went out and drafted a ton of rookies. This year was all about adding talent. So now this season is going to be all about meshing the talent together. Once again, they have a lot of young talent in the secondary, at wide receiver, in their front seven. You have a great young head coach. You're building a great foundation here. You have a young quarterback who could potentially be your franchise quarterback, but it is going to take a ton of time for this talent to mesh. So if I were to predict right here, right now, the Dolphins ceiling is 8-8 this year, but I predict them going 7-9. Once again, it's going to take this team time to mesh, but give them some time. Give them one more offseason. Give them a healthy Tua Tagovailoa with experience, and man, this Dolphins team can be a problem. So make sure you guys hit that like button right now. Subscribe for more. You can follow the Right Way Sports Network on Instagram and Twitter, and you can also follow me as well. I'll put it down in the bio. So we will see you guys all next time on the Right Way Sports Network.